BlackRock, the New York-based asset manager that controls more wealth than almost anyone on the planet, except for basically nation states, actually, and really only two, which is the US and China. These guys are no joke. They kind of do own everything. It's crazy. And under the leadership of CEO Larry Fink, BlackRock has recently been making some serious, potentially dangerous moves into the world's second largest cryptocurrency, Ethereum. But what exactly is BlackRock up to, and should we be worried? What is their angle here? Does it all simply equal to Ethereum just going to go to the moon? They're going to pump our bags. Thanks, Larry Fink. Or is it possible that there are more sinister motivations behind BlackRock's actions here? Well, in today's video, let's do a deep dive. Let's have a conversation on BlackRock's Ethereum gamble and see if we can get an idea of what might be occurring. What are they actually up to? Let's start off with a few simple facts about our old buddies over at BlackRock. BlackRock is a multinational asset manager that represents clients from over 100 different nations. BlackRock's signature product is their iShares ETF brand, which offers ETF investment exposure on most of the world's major stock exchanges. BlackRock invests in everything from public and private companies to residential and commercial real estate, right on down to infrastructure projects, to commodities, to currencies. Their finger is in every pie. And do not underestimate the relationships that BlackRock has with the major U.S. power brokers. They're very close with the Federal Reserve. They're very close with elected representatives and senators. Everyone is in their pocket. Financial regulators, everybody. Case in point, BlackRock has filed 576 ETF applications with the SEC, and all but one of those were ever approved. BlackRock knows the game. Basically, BlackRock gets what it wants. Okay, so most of us know that BlackRock runs IBIT, which is the most successful U.S. spot Bitcoin ETF with an estimated 250,000 Bitcoin under management at the time of recording. But not long after BlackRock began pursuing their spot Bitcoin ETF, they made a pretty quick pivot towards Ethereum. In November 2023, news broke that BlackRock had filed for a spot Ethereum ETF. And this seemed like a pretty aggressive move, given at the time the SEC hadn't even approved any of the Bitcoin ETFs yet. Of course, the proposed ETH ETF acts like the Bitcoin ETF, giving investors exposure to Ethereum via BlackRock shares, while Coinbase would act again as the custodian partner. So, okay, great. This all makes sense. Pump our bags, Larry Fink. Let's go to the moon. But what is BlackRock actually thinking long term here when it comes to Ethereum? Well, about 2 months after they filed their spot ETH ETF in January of 2024, the big kahuna himself, Mr. Larry Fink, went on a round of interviews with TradFi legacy media shows, and Fink basically spilled the beans as to how they view Ethereum and its relationship with the traditional finance world. Check this clip out between Larry Fink and CNBC host Andrew Sorkin.
Longer term, do you now expect other cryptocurrency ETFs? Meaning, do you think that Gary, and we'll talk to him later, Gary
like Ethereum
will have to approve an Ethereum ETF? And is that a function of something the SEC has to do, or do you think that all these things have to go to court first?
I couldn't respond to that. I see value in having an Ethereum ETF. As I said, these are just stepping stones towards tokenization. And I really do believe this is where we're going to be going. We have the technology to tokenize today. If you want to think about this. If you had a tokenized security and you have a tokenized identity, you, Andrew, the moment you buy or sell an instrument, it is known. It's on a general ledger that is all created together. You want to talk about issues around money laundering and all that. This eliminates all corruption by having a tokenized system.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. But if you think that Fink made a slip of the tongue, then look at this interview with Bloomberg Television.
We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock Every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger. Every investor, you and I, will have our own number, our own identification. We could rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities about bonds and stocks and digital by having a tokenization. But the most importantly thing, we can customize strategies through tokenization that fits every individual. We would have instantaneous settlement. Think about all the costs of settling bonds and stocks. But if you had a tokenization, everything would be immediate because it's just a line item. And so we believe this is a technological transformation for financial assets. I believe if you want to talk about voting and voting choice and all the things, if we know every moment who is the owner of that stock and it's now time to vote, every individual who has ownership is identified and they can vote their own shares.
Okay, look, Fink comes right out and says that BlackRock believes that tokenization is the future of finance. But what does that mean? Well, Larry Fink is talking about real world assets, or RWAs, moving on chain. Stocks, bonds, currencies, commodities, money market instruments, real estate, all of it, everything. According to Fink, we may see a day when these assets no longer trade between separated networks that are controlled by the brokers and the stock exchanges and the settlement partners, clearinghouses, all that kind of stuff, but rather that they will all trade on a unified ledger with digital tokens representing the actual assets themselves. Interesting. But listening to Fink talk about this vision for the future, some things he said, they were music to my ears, and other things he said, it gave me a little bit of the creeps. The big win here is this entire vision could seriously pump our bags. Trillions of assets could come on chain, providing wild liquidity. Assuming RWAs do get pulled into public decentralized chains like Ethereum, then watch the heck out, guys, because tens of trillions in wealth will be coming to be tokenized and traded on chain. Pretty soon you'll be able to get an NFT of your house and get a loan against that to buy dog coins. It'll be amazing. Anyway, owning the crypto that secures these networks means you own the infrastructure that facilitates global trade. And I love it. Having said that, I was also getting some kind of George Orwell 1984 vibes when I listened to Larry Fink speaking. Fink keeps mentioning how every investor will have their own digital ID on chain. This means every investor's holdings and trades and movements in the market would end up being tied to their real world identities and, of course, tracked by the gatekeepers, the overlords of finance, the BlackRock's of the world. How does this mean that BlackRock or their friends could maybe freeze your trading ID, maybe freeze your assets if you're on the bad list? Well, given how much power they possess, I think these questions should be taken very seriously. Remember, BlackRock is like a big pusher for the ESG agenda and all that stuff. And even though they backed away from now, they were still there. Now, let's interrupt the conspiracy talk a little bit to let you know about the best damn newsletter in crypto. Lighten the mood a little bit here, guys. That's the Wealth Mastery newsletter. Every week, my team and I are bringing you the latest and best money-making insights on airdrops, altcoin news, deep dives on altcoins, NFTs, technical analysis, crypto memes, and much, much more. Join our 120,000 plus weekly readers and sign up for free using the link down below in the description or the pinned comment on X. Okay. Let's move back to the facts on the ground. We know that BlackRock has an open filing for an ETH spot ETF, and we know that they think RWAs are going to move on chain. So the next question is, what blockchains are they zeroing in on? Well, 2 months after Larry Fink's interviews, BlackRock submitted an SEC filing for a new fund called BlackRock USDT Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund, or BUIDL. BUIDL. And the blockchain that BUIDL operates on is none other than Ethereum, obviously. Here's what we know about BUIDL. Registered in the British Virgin Islands, BUIDL offers qualified investors tokenized exposure to U.S. Treasury bills, repurchase agreements, and other money market instruments. Basically, Investors purchase stable coins, but each of those stable coins is backed by US Treasury bills and other interest-bearing dollar instruments. So the more tokens an investor holds, the more yield they receive. BlackRock's partner for BUIDL is Securitize, which is a San Francisco-based asset tokenization company. All investors' holdings and all transactions, of course, occur on digital wallets that are issued from Securitize. It's happening. The fund has already gone live and it pulled in $245 million from investors in just the first few days after launching. So, what are we seeing here? Well, obviously, BlackRock choosing Ethereum is a huge vote of confidence for the network. And I know Ethereum network fees suck, but like when you're putting $250 million on chain, paying $20 doesn't really matter. And even though BUIDL is focused on tokenized money market instruments, the asset class alone is worth like $26 trillion. So, hey, that's a bit of cheddar, right? So pay attention if more asset managers follow in BlackRock's footsteps, or BlackRock simply keeps doubling down and starts bringing tens of billions on chain. Now, another question you might be asking yourself is, who are BUIDL's qualified investors? What's BlackRock's target client? Well, that's where things start to take another interesting turn. Here's Carlos Domingo, CEO of Securitize, answering that very question 2 weeks ago in an interview with Lara Shin.
And who's investing in it?
We're not disclosing that. Those are
like not literally, but demographically. Can you describe?
Oh no, these are all crypto companies. Look, the target of this is crypto companies. So we were looking at doing two things with this. One is obviously treasury management. So crypto companies have some of them very large treasuries. Some of them they keep on their own token. Some of them they keep it in stable coins. Some of them do have access to traditional bank accounts, but obviously it's a clunky interface. So that's one use case, right? Anything, all the DAOs, the foundations, etc., that they can move part of the treasury to an on-chain money market fund, daily liquidity, and then also managed by the largest asset manager in the world. So you don't have any counterparty risk towards any random crypto company that you're giving the money to manage, right?
That's right. BlackRock wants BUIDL to be a treasury management solution for crypto companies, Web3 developers, decentralized autonomous organizations, and different crypto foundations. The selling point, according to Domingo, is that these companies are already flush in crypto and in stable coins, and that BUIDL gives them a way to manage and earn yield on their treasuries on chain, which is pretty good, better than trusting someone like FTX, right? And of course, this is all brought to you by the largest asset manager in the world, so there is a trust factor there that others don't have. And not to sound conspiratorial, but I've got more alarm bells going off. Here you've got BlackRock, which has these close ties to the Federal Reserve, courting crypto companies into letting them manage their treasury assets. That, along with all the talk about digital IDs and monetization, all that kind of stuff. Look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. BlackRock is here to pump our bags, and I'm all about that. But these people are not our friends. BlackRock is not here for the revolution. They never have been. And that's fine. They're here to make a buck. Crypto right now, public enemy number one to the US Federal Reserve. So what happens if BlackRock gets a hold of a significant amount of treasury assets from major crypto institutions? And for one reason or another, the Federal Reserve and the powers that be decide to nuke the industry. It creates a fundamental risk long term. When BlackRock gets the call, are they going to stand up for the little guys, or are they going to stand up for their DC buddies? Or are they the ones that are going to put in the call to the DC buddies? I don't know. And maybe I'm just being paranoid. So why don't you let me know what you think in the comments below? But fundamentally, I don't trust BlackRock or their agendas. And yeah, they're going to pump the ETH bags in the meantime. So yay to that. We can at least enjoy that. Anyway, thanks for watching.